Mhm. Mhm. What the hell? Why is this so loud? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, there we go. It's fixed. Mike. Oh no, this doesn't. There we go. Okay, everything's good now. You hear the Discord? You guys can hear the Discord. Vlogs, Discord. Where's Discord, bro? Where is Discord? Hello? Mike. Yeah, Mike works. Discord's not working for some reason.
It's just good communication, strategic, that builds like yourself up and maintains great relations with organizations and the public. That can be with media, like the Shinbo News or the Tokyo News or any of the news stations in general. We do have a PR guy on campus. Unfortunately, he is very busy right now, so he couldn't make it, which sucks. That's also citizens though. Other heroes, factions, groups, just saving people in general. There's a lot of things that come into PR. A lot of people get the misconception that it's just whenever you're on TV, that's your PR or like a good answer. But it also comes in with how you talk to people. So if you're saving someone, for example, um, you typically want to talk to them and say that you're gonna get them safe. It gives them a that right there is also PR. You're giving them the idea that they're getting out of there. Well, hopefully they're getting out of there, not just the idea. All right, things happen unfortunately, but you're communicating with them. You're keeping them up. So why they're terrified that maybe there's an attack going on in the city, you're giving them comfort, which is very important. You want to make sure you maintain that at all times, given the nature of the situation that you will be in. Also, just like your other heroes in general, you don't want to be on bad terms with other heroes. You feel me? We had a hero at one point called the Truth, not to be confused with Truth, who was Break Force before he transformed to the Truth. Also, not to be confused with our current Break Force, but the Truth. Wasn't exactly one of the brightest folks. He got through Hosen, barely passing. He, to give you an example, we had an interrogation with Miss Belladira, when she was captured, and while the interrogation was going pretty smooth, we're getting a lot of information, understanding who certain people are, Spectre, Nocturnus, what they're looking for, what they're doing. He asked her if she would join Anathema. Kenneth? Which one's Kenneth?
Bro, it's the same guy every time. Bro.
Yo, Kenneth. Hey man,
Yo,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
there.
I will just kick you from the damn server, bro.
What are you doing?
Don't make this hard for me, bro.
Yo, what is this mask, bro?
Yeah.
Like, gang, what are you doing, bruh?
Yo,
Yeah. Go ahead, everyone. Go ahead. What's up?
killer ass.
Yeah.
Bro.
Belladira was a part of the release during the Citadel, the one spamming the emote. Yeah. If you're stimming and you're just being disruptive, I will just kick you off the stage. I will just kick you out the server.
Yeah,
altogether.
if you're
By the way, just fair
ruining
warning
this
for
classroom,
everyone
you
here.
will be kicked.
And if that happens, expect a merit. I have a whole thread for. I'm not merit, demerit. I have a whole thread for it. Lore team looks at it, and when they look at it, I mean they do the job. I said lore team. I mean the dean, the staff, the school staff. It's all in lore, right? But yeah, PR. Like I said, other factions and groups. I mean, having a good image for yourself in general. I mean, why wouldn't you want that? Just being on the real. You don't want to be seen as someone that is unreliable, overall just moody, not a great person to be around. Wasn't there one person? We'll actually get into that later, Eugen. I do have a section for that exactly, and we will talk about that. Let me go ahead to the next slide. Why does it matter? Kind of went in that last slide, but I'll go more into this. It is not just so much conducting yourself on the camera that you really want to be worried about with that. I feel like that's actually the easiest part of PR, is when you're told you're gonna be interviewed. You know, someone come up to you and they want to talk to you. You know to be on good behavior. That's when that clicks you. But it really should be at all times is when you should be on your best behavior, because you never know who is already recording you, who has their phone out, who's looking at you funny. And this should really just be your everyday deal, whether it's just going into a K Coffee and ordering coffee and being kind of respectful, proper tipping, your patrols that you will end up doing, your missions that you end up doing, the people that you speak to. And you could tie it into like hero ethics or I guess self-preservation, I'd say. Is that the word I'm looking for? I believe that's the word I'm looking for. But a celebrity, but people will ask you for autographs, they will talk to you, you will have fans, you will have people who enjoy seeing you out, and your life is now a lot more public than it was if you were not a hero. And it's your job to maintain that image, not just for yourself, but for the JHO or whatever organization you may be a part of, agency. 'Cause at the end of the day, when you mess up, everybody messes up. You get me? And that's really all of us. If I mess up, then everyone looks at the entirety of the heroes, and they will say that, well, if Adam's doing something wrong, then everybody else is doing something wrong. Or if this person is making giant outcries and everyone's making giant outcries, it is really a team thing. So I tie that back into the class. I like to think when one of you guys make a mistake, I kind of fault all of you for it, because when you guys do become heroes, that is what's going to happen. You will be all looked at, and people will point the finger at you, whether or not you were even present that day. Yeah, an individual mistake is for all. It's also on your guys' part to also remind your fellow students not fellow students. I guess, yeah, in this case, you guys are students, but when you are a hero, if you become a hero, to remind them to be on good track, or to remind them to have a clear head for things, amongst many other things. I like to say appropriation over reformation. And that's just to take being yourself. Jamin Tay often expresses a concern for JHO having mindless drones. And it's an important concern. He's not wrong. Is he a little bit crude when he says it, a little bit brash? Yes, he is. But he's not wrong. I'm not having you guys here so you all compile into a line for me and say the same thing and act the same way. You guys are all individual people. You have unique metas. You have unique things about you. If you don't have unique metas, you're still unique regardless at the end of the day. And we want you to stay that way. I don't want any of you guys to stop doing that. Mr. Gigglesworth has a nose and he honks it and everyone hears it and it's loud. It's also kind of funny. Gio over here, he makes good points. He makes people laugh. He smiles around today and has a great attitude across the board. He's pretty good with children. Yeah, I'd say he's good with children. The turtle. Everyone loves seeing the turtle. People just like giant animals. I don't know how that happened, but people love giant animals. He's the turtle man. And some of you guys, my good looks are what set me apart. Ugh. Get a load of this guy. Get a load of him. Get a load of him. We're just joking. Vapor is actually a model as well, if you didn't know. So yeah, I guess in essence he's not wrong. Part of his good looks do factor into his personality. Lying is the worst form of pure. Not that anyone lied.
No one lied.
But you should also understand that, like, regardless of who you are and what makes you unique and how often you speak out on things, there is a time and a place for everything. You do need to hold back sometimes. Sometimes you need to have the humility to be able to keep yourself from going too far. Which actually ties us into the next part, which is interviews and media. Most of you, as students, not as heroes, but also as heroes, there'll be a time somewhere where internet people will come to you or ask you online, or news stations, or someone will come to you to ask you questions, to record it, to jot it down, to put it somewhere for it to forever be on the internet. And if you guys know, once it's on the internet, it's there forever. There's no going back, no matter how much you're trying to scrub it. And sometimes these questions might be really deep. They might be very personal, untrue about you as well, and they might just be looking to slander you. I'll use myself as an example. Many people question how how I train people now, given the past altar scenario. I trained altar for the longest time, and unfortunately, altar came out and did some very terrible things. Um, and I am asked those questions. How can we expect to trust you? How can we expect to believe in you when you set people on the wrong path? How much of that is true? How much of that is important? I'd say all of it is pretty important, because it is a good question at the end of the day. But it is a deep and personal question, and sometimes it is aimed to hurt me. You will have questions like that. People will ask you those things, and they will suck in the moment, but you're gonna need to know how to talk about it. You shouldn't look to deflect. You shouldn't look to point out something else about themselves or the person who's asking you to try and reflect the situation back on them. I guess that's another portion of deflecting, right? But you need to be humble during those scenarios, and show that even though you're being asked this deep question and you have this history tied to you, you're still able to bounce back. And what you say in those moments will really define who you are as a character, not just to yourselves and your peers, but to everyone else, really. I'm curious, do you know if there's any difference between being interviewed as an officer as well as versus what it's like to be interviewed as a hero? Are you asking what's the difference between an MPA being interviewed and a hero being interviewed? Is that the question? Yes. I wouldn't say there is too much of it. I believe the MPA have a more formal and what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word I'm looking for here. Mapped out response to these interviews. As a hero, you're able to be more yourself. You're not exactly tied to a set format of responses. And you're a hero for the people. And you're more tied directly to the people than an officer is. An officer, and that's not to down or naysay the MPA at all, by the way. They are the front line, of course. But yeah, less static. You have a bit more freedom. And what you say, yeah. I'd say that's the main difference between the MPA and the heroes when it comes to interviews and media. And you also want to watch the words that you say. You realistically shouldn't be saying, oh man, I just got terrible news. It just looks like the order I made for food is canceled. Unfortunate. That's off topic though. Back on topic. Yeah, there's a bunch of landmines when talking. You want to avoid using like swear words a lot as a hero as well. It's important to not sit there and just have a terrible, I guess, format of words, even if you find yourself saying that often. Shame your food. I know it is pretty upsetting. It's also important to not be rude directly to people. I think that's just basic understandings. I am pretty strict on my class. I am so sorry. Oh my gosh. Bad PR. Bad PR, by the way, guys. Hitting your students for no reason. I am pretty big on you guys when it comes to what you guys say. I don't appreciate it when you guys call each other bastards and bitches and all sorts of things. Do I call you asshats? Yes, I do call you asshats, but that's because I'm teaching you and I'm not your peers. I'm your I'm your teacher. I'm here to teach you guys things. So I will call you out when you guys make mistakes. I will always call you out when you guys make mistakes. Moving back on though to things, discussions. We don't have a lot of topics in particular for discussions, but discussions, of course, this is pretty much the part where things last the longest and things will move on. I encourage you to ask me as many questions as you can during this time as we go on. So when I call someone an asset, yeah, don't call someone an asset, Ryan. Bad PR and good PR examples. I have a few in mind, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on bad PR and good PR. What are some examples that you've seen? I'm waiting for you guys. I know you've seen some. Pro tag? Yeah, okay. Bad PR, anarchist, okay. Someone said Mr. Ember earlier today. Someone did say that. Pro tag, anarchist. Alright. My Vamp Bro? Is your Vamp Bro good or bad? Someone said Kid Momentum. Remember, we want good and bad examples, not just bad examples. He did do some bad things. Yeah. I do recall that. Stars of Valor before all that. What?
That's what I said. Bro, what did that mean?
What
Bro,
the
what?
Gyarados, Mr. Fukunoshi.
Alright,
Mr.
bro.
Fukunoshi is a good example of really good PR. Gyarados is good PR. He is pretty good. I'd say he always has a good mind on his shoulders whenever he's looking to say things. Jamin take him to help beyond demanding free stuff. When we didn't, he wanted us fired. Okay. Wow. This is a side note, by the way, and I do encourage this. The MEC is. Go ahead. What's up? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Is he here? I'm confused why you're saying this name. Oh wait, Funa. Oh, I'm saying his name, Funakoshi. Oh my gosh, I've been saying his name wrong for so long. This is embarrassing. Whoopsies, guys. Apologies if I say names wrong. Do correct me if I do say them wrong. I make mistakes too. Whoopsies. That's bad PR probably. Yeah, it's like neutral PR. If you guys are experiencing uncomfortable situations with heroes, such as what Miss Sarah said a second ago, Mr. J. Minte, demanding free stuff, then trying to get you fired when you didn't give him free stuff, you should report that. Even if you're a hero, even if you're a citizen, even if you're a student, even if you're just a random person, you should always report these bad PR instances of heroes. MEC does have a ticket service for you to do that. A little bit off topic, but yeah, do that. Always do that, actually, as a matter of fact. Even if it happened in the past, I'd still recommend doing that regardless. The sooner you do that, the more action can be taken and the faster it can be done to correct it. Ace is another example of good PR. We can actually talk about, though, Kid Momentum's bad PR. And this is an extreme case. I don't think this comes up very often. Or anything of this would really come up very often. But Kid Momentum, if you don't know who that is, he was a hero. Oh, yeah, yikes. He was a hero from the Golden Order or Fatlock program? One or the other. And essentially he was a Momentum fan, as we know him. In which, during a terrible event in which kids were involved, and unfortunately, not many, if any, were able to make it out. A funeral was hosted, and this funeral was hosted in the Hosu Mall area. And Kid Momentum decided the appropriate reaction for him was to jump on the cases, the caskets, asking for a cookie. The cookies, unfortunately, was directly related to the fact that these kids were no longer with us. And so Kid Momentum was very quickly taken out of Hero Society, removed from Hero Society, all cases. This is an extreme case of bad PR. I don't think anyone here would do that. I believe he's dead now. Not because we killed him. We don't kill. That's not No. Kid Momentum decided the next best of action, or next best piece of action, was to go to Osaka and sell all of his gear, as a hero, and unfortunately, he was found dead selling that gear, in Osaka. So, don't go to Osaka to sell hero gear. You will probably be killed. I mentioned this before with 1A. I mentioned it with 1C and the other classes here. Osaka is a death trap. You're also not allowed to go to Osaka once you become a hero. That is against the rules unless you have a pass given to you by Haunt, or the MEC, or a top hero. I mean, okay. This guy right here is what we call a look at me for attention. Yes, obviously, you work with Haunt. You're allowed to go to Osaka. Is Croneus the only one allowed? Croneus is allowed in Osaka from time to time. However, he isn't always allowed to just go to Osaka. I think good examples of PR though. We're actually during that same day when Miss Hyperlink decided to give a speech out for those poor girls who lost their lives tragically, and was able to rally the morale, or what was left of there, for the greater good. No one can fully heal the heart when you lose a child, but what Hyperlink did there was much needed for the people grieving that day. All-Star and his brother, they do give pretty good PR. I'd say All-Star and Superstar, they're probably the best when it comes to talking to just the everyday guy. I've never seen them not just talking to the everyday guy and making sure everyone's okay. They really do spend their time making sure everybody in the city is just having a much better day. And if you're not having a better day, they really put forth the effort to just make it better, even if it's just something small like needing an extra coffee or wanting someone to walk with you to the mall. They really are just good examples of really good down-to-earth people. What are your opinions on donations in terms of PR and its effect on the public viewpoint? If you're donating for the point of the public viewpoints, I don't think you're donating with a good cause. I don't think that's a good reason to donate, and you probably shouldn't do that either. But if you're donating because you full-heartedly believe in donations and making a change for someone, then yeah, I'd say do it. But if you're donating just to increase your, I guess, reputation, you'd say, that's a pretty poor reason, and you should probably figure out something else. Don't just donate to raise your PR. That's pretty selfish. You don't want to be selfish. Being selfish is a pretty ugly thing to do when you're a hero. I think that's just common sense, though. If you're looking for, yeah, don't be a hero for the fame or glory, man. If you're a hero for the fame or glory, I'm just gonna be honest with you. You're probably going to die. If that's why you're here, if you're just here to get your licks in and get your punches in, you're probably gonna get someone killed or get yourself killed. So, not that I think any of you here are doing that. I don't think anyone in here is doing that. But if that is why you're here, you should just leave now. But moving on. Any examples of the sort? Yes, actually. The Truth, I believe his name. I can't remember if it was Truth or the Truth. I believe it was the Truth. His meta was Reflection. And because he wanted to get his licks in one day, that resulted directly in, I believe it was Masaki Fudo, Leviathan at the time, having a full attack of his redirected ×2 at himself, in which I don't believe he lost any limbs during that, but he was gravely injured, and he took a lot of time to recover after that incident. The Truth was shortly removed from being a hero, not because of just that, but due to another reason. Kind of reason, but wasn't Unbreakable killed due to his ability to deal with personal relation? This is a amazing example. Thank you, Leaf, for bringing this up. As you know, there is the Decay gatekeeper of our gatekeeper Decay villain. His name is Yuma. It takes one touch, and you are gone forever. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not an overstatement. He turns you into dust, just like that. You're very lucky if when he touches you, you don't poof away, or if you just lose an arm. Losing an arm is probably the best case. As a student, yes, you should run. You should get out of there as soon as possible. As a hero, you're aiming to defuse the situation, which is another good example of PR. They said Mr. Unbreakable was going to be okay. He is suffering severe injuries right now. I wouldn't say okay, but he is very injured. Because Unbreakable wanted to, from my understanding, taunt the man. I believe that is the case. It resulted in several people dying. How will that go for him in the future? Investigations are still going through, and whether or not he is held in contempt for the deaths of those involved that day is still right now in the air. And that is including heroes and citizens as a whole. Now, unfortunately, Adele did pass away last night. She did not make it. So that is a unfortunate situation there with one of our heroes. Apologies to those. I hate to break that to you guys here. It's not somewhere as I wanted to break that to you guys all here. But yes, Adele did not make it last night. She unfortunately succumbed to her injuries. If any of you guys need to talk about that, feel free to reach out. Any of the heroes would gladly talk to you about that, including Miss Eidolon. Eidolon is she here still? I don't see her. Is she blending in with the crowd? I believe she's somewhere around here. But Miss Eidolon, oh yeah, she's over there in the Commodore. She is a licensed therapist, so you can talk to her about these about anything you may be feeling or any thoughts. But yeah, because Bronze Man Unbreakable wanted to provoke him, it did result in an explosive attack from Yuma. Whether he was going to attack or not is unknown. But the fact that he was avoiding defusing the situation and continuing to get on his nerves is an unfortunate situation. They had no information on the meta and tried to step in. Unfortunately, no, that's incorrect. Yuma is a well-documented person within the JHO, and that is completely on Unbreakable's fault to not look at the information documented on Yuma. So that would be still on Unbreakable's fault, given that he had no information. Even if he had no information on the meta, there is information that he can easily access. That is there present. From what I understand, that was not the case originally. Another attacked hero before the attack occurred. I was there and saw it. If you saw it, go ahead and send me a little message on the side. That'd be helpful. All Unbreakable did was be the last to back off during the fight before his psychosis. Again, even then, that's just a matter of listening to your team and your squad. You should be paying attention, and that is a repeat case, unfortunately. If he was the last to break off and he was still going at it, then he clearly didn't listen. We don't just give comms out to each other. Yeah. As Trimmer said, I mean, these situations are real, man. That is an unfortunate case. Not listening to comms. Like I said, I believe we said it literally 15 minutes ago. Not listening to others is, I guess, a form of bad PR. It does get people killed. If you're just here to get your licks in, it does get others killed. Yes, it did. That's actually how we lost Hyperlink. Yes. Yeah, I heard about that too. But this is a good point to bring up. I'm glad you guys brought it up, and I'm glad that you had a discussion about this. It is important to know that, off topic, but will there be a lesson on communications? Yeah, in the future, of course. There'll be a lessons on communications, which go apparently. What is happening in Sodomort? Other heroes right now? You sure? We can end right now if we need to. Do we need to end? Are we good, or are we fine? Okay. Sorry about that. I'm good. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Then we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up a bit. Get a bit of a move on. There is examples of media PR. Point in case, if you know who Sam Owens is. He is a news reporter. And an example of it would be him bringing up the Titan incident with Korea. Who keeps clapping? What is that noise? He went ahead and brought up the Titan incident, which also appeared in the news. The hot med guy. Yo, this. Okay. Sam, are you asking who is Sam Owens or who is Titan? It's okay, Sam. Yeah, he's with the Shembo News. He is a part of them. He's one of their, well, he was one of their main writers. Currently one of their more main investigators. But he brought up the Titan incident that happened with him and Osamu, which resulted in the death of many people. Can you stop clapping? Which resulted in the death of a lot of people in South Korea. Amongst that, I hope most of you keep up with the news that comes out. But there is other examples out there. Many of you can go check it out, read what's going on, of the sorts. Is there any other questions before we start wrapping this up? Before you end, I'll send you notes, but snapshot tag you first. Yeah, go ahead and send that to me. Send me an email, if you will, or a PM or DM. Do some people just get past even if they have terrible PR? Unfortunately, there are people who pass with terrible PR. But they typically get handled pretty quickly once they become a hero. So can we get another joint class and go camping? No. Unfortunately, well, I mean, maybe we can go camping in the back out here, but camping in somewhere like the lodge and stuff like that is not happening. Not with you guys. Ulysses Cross, go ahead with your question. At Spy Agency? We could do that. Yeah, it is a disaster. Death Trap 2. Okay. Any other question? Lodge is cursed. I don't know why you go there. Lots of stuff. Yeah, I mean, you should always understand that if you go out camping in the wilderness, especially today, with today's villains, there is an incredibly high chance that you could be attacked, and I don't want that for any of you guys. Oh yeah, what happened about going to the other agency trip we had planned? The Aetheris agency? That'll happen later. We just decided that who was the strongest villain when you were a first-time hero? Back then it was your. No, we haven't gone to Aetherius Agency yet. Gigglesworth. Yoru and Nocturnus, they were definitely up there at the time. I think obviously Yoru is in prison now, but Nocturnus, he's still around and he's still pretty terrifying. Is Zaylino? I know some heroes were. I did bring up Nocturnus already. Zaylino was a pretty scary guy for us when we were students. I think he definitely hit a cliff though. Noctis? I don't know who Noctis is. Do you know Noctis? Thank you. I really question. You said people. Yeah, he can do that just by touching you. Nocturnus. He said Noctis though. Noctis. I'm trying to think about who Noctis was. I remember Nocturnus, of course. He had some orbs. Oh, that's not his name. I don't. The bow girl, yes. Skiver was there, 21st. Skiver was more of a, how do I say? They were more of a threat together. There was Scar and Skirv. I believe Scar is the guy's name with the orbs. His name was Scar, that's what I recall. Those two were more scary together. It was more of a fact that it was both of them than it was them by themselves. When we did find the bow girl, I mean, Scar got captured the same day he showed up. When Skiver got caught by herself on the outskirts.
Where did we send Scar?
He's forever in a prison. I think he actually passed away in the prison from suicide.
Damn.
Yeah. What villain should we avoid the most? Sure.
One above all, Chura.
One above all. Go ahead, Orion. Don't raise your hand. Just ask the questions. I get. What's the situation with the bird and the Sinite? You're talking about Nora and War. Nora and War. So wait, why don't we go in a higher class of facility and interview someone else to pass? Well, without sounding egotistical.
I could talk about.
Without sounding egotistical.
I could talk about the.
What reason would you ever have, Kenneth, to go to a high classified facility? Without ego, without information and motives, that's just not a good enough reason. Bringing you to a facility like that, we have to have you blindfolded. We can't let you see the location. And I mean, there's just too much of it that's classified. Whatever happened to the prisons meant to reform villains? I was told about it by some friends who visited Daringhosen. Yeah, you're not supposed to know the name of that place, but you are not supposed to speak the fucking name.
Bro, they say the name all the time.
Supposed to say the name. Senso and Nor, I mean, they've been missing for a minute, so we don't know what really happened to them.
Senso had. What is it? Senso had spoken right before he had left that he wants to destroy the world and remake it because he thinks there's too many villains. Basically, he wants to cause war and end war at the same time.
Mr. Janitor.
And Noir.
Who's Mr. Janitor?
Is also Noir is a Cyanite. He seems to like be the head of Cyanites. He's on the same power level as Snet as what's his name? What's his name? The big Cyanite. Senso's logic.
The whole war thing is pretty flawed in itself, but understand that villains are typically very flawed individuals. I'll do a villains class.
No more innocence. No more innocence and Noir seem to be on the same level of power.
But in terms of, I wouldn't say that, but the unknown guy is well, I I wouldn't say he's necessarily a strong person by himself, but he's very strong with his allies and very good at sneaking people rather than he is showing up. I believe he's relatively weak on himself. He's just very evasive. Um, No More Innocence is stronger. I thought Nora would be stronger. Ruinous. I mean, Ruinous is pretty up there, but I wouldn't say he's highly up there. Nor did Pin and Al, but together they are pretty strong. Are we just going to power skill debate for the rest of the class? No, I think we're just asking about what heroes are what not heroes, what villains are the most dangerous here. If you can compare us to a villain in the past, maybe see. Oh, I'm not comparing any. You guys understand that you're students, right? You don't compare it to the villains we have out there in general. You shouldn't do that. Not right now. You guys are year ones. While some of you might be able to catch them off guard, I wouldn't reliably do that. I mean, how would you compare yourself to somebody? How would I compare myself to some of these threats? Well, at least for myself. How would I word this? Could I take on your? Maybe. I try not to be overconfident in myself and be humble. Could you take on the bomb chick? I've definitely taken her on before. I did play a big part in saving many heroes during the initial bomb chick, or the bomb head lady when we met her. Belladira. I mean, most to put it in the best way possible. Most villains do not engage me longer than they need to. I'm a big person. I take up a lot of the field. You need to use a lot of resources if you're really gonna bring me down. But where that really puts me at, and where you put the others at, given the fact that most of these villains can just run away from me at the end of the day, that's up for you guys to decide. But I'm not here to power scale on myself and other villains. Just know that every villain has their own strength, and every hero has their own strengths as well, and weaknesses. And it goes both ways. So would I beat them? Hell yeah, I'd beat them. Most of the time, it's more effective to talk to them. That's also a good point. It is more effective to talk to them than it is to just beat them senseless. For 1A, I've gone over it a bit, but there is a misconception by the masses, and I mean generally, it seems like the entire world has this misconception. No one was aiming to reform, or rehabilitate reform during his rampages across Japan. The goal was to talk him down before things hit nuclear level with him. Reform, like Yuma, is able to touch you once, and that's the end of you forever. You're gone. You're turned into red mist. You're dead, and to put it in the most blunt way possible. So, the goal with, do you think I could take on Null? Maybe. Aren't there many villains like that? Yes. So the goal with these villains, when they can just turn people into paste in literal seconds, one touch and you die, it's to talk them down from attacking the city maybe that day. If I can talk down a villain for one day, then I know I've saved several lives that one day. And sometimes you really have to pace it like that. It's going by it day by day. Do you think his falling was related to his metability and stresses that come? Yes, it was 100%, of course. Metapsychosis is a real thing that he was suffering from, to the point that it became meta outrage. But back to what I was saying, it comes down to you talking them while you're mid evacuating. Many times do I make the call that, hey, start evacuating people. Don't make it obvious. Do it right now. Get them out of here. I'm going to go ahead and talk to the villain, right? And whether that villain is Sure, whether that villain is Reform, whether that villain is quite literally anyone in the books, that is a plan we use routinely, and that's just to get as many lives as we can saved at the end of the day, before the inevitable hell breaks loose. And that's something you guys should all really keep in mind. Whether you're going to be the person that has to talk to them, or the person who needs to get everyone evacuated. And was the one who told me I could be here. He's a good person to point. Yeah, really, you have an experience on that topic, or yeah, I do have a lot of, yeah, same retracted. Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong, the villains, no matter how monstrous they appear, no matter how terrible the things they do, they're still human at the end of the day, no matter how you may look at them. That's not to cover their actions, not to say, yeah, I know, we're wrapping up in a second. To say that they're okay in their actions, but they're still people with complex opinions and complex motives and unique thoughts. And for Reform's case, yes, he was a he was a hero at one point, and he did save many lives. Unfortunately, metapsychosis consumed him. He calls me a father son for screaming the way he did in the movie. Can we end this off like all of us versus Adam or something? No, the room for fighting each other was during this entire thing. If you chose not to engage in any combat, that's not really my fault. We're not gonna go ahead and drop one giant fight. I guess we could actually. Do you think we could drop one giant fight before we end this? Everyone versus Adam? Are we down with this? Everyone versus heroes? Oh wow. Look at that, you guys got a teammate on my shoulder. Alright. I'll have Lee worry about the time. I'm gonna run off and you guys go ahead and stand there, or don't stand there. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what we get here. See, no one made the conscious decision to chase me during that time, so now Adam's buffed.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. My bad. Yeesh, bro. What is, yo? That's all of them dead. They're all dead. They're all done. That's what our healer's done, bro. They're all on the ground. That's all right. Let's go, bro.
What's happening to me?
No, no, I don't want to fight. No, I don't. Currently, please. Please. Need to get a healer up, bro. Need to get a healer up. Where'd he go? Did I drop him? What the fuck? Yo! Oh my goodness, bro! You just want to give me a pop shot. You know what? Let me go out with them. There we go. Well, I would not want to bring attention to where I need this island. So if that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. Romance. How much HP did he do per stomp? That was bad. Like that.
God knows wherever they went.
Yo. We're getting out of here. No, we're not. That's a going plus ultra for year 100 units. Oh, that's beautiful. Where are we going, bro? Oh, he deserved that. Oh, he missed it on them, bro. Like, big tremors on them. Yeah, okay. I just got, by the way. Hey.
Tattoo on the PD! Tattoo!
I remember. The PD command's going through. It's taking time. Oh my god. Okay. All right, PD's over.
Just got fucking knocked,
Everybody, you can go
bro.
home now. You're
Good order.